for somebody else, what it does is it makes us feel good. And I know that there are times where I'm very conscious of this, very, very conscious of it, and I decide, oh, I'm going to really be conscious to give somebody a compliment, to smile at somebody, to do something special. But sometimes we get so caught up in our own world that we forget to do this. And when we forget to do this, what happens is we go through the day, and the day can be very boring, it can be very mundane. Nothing good is happening. And one of the things that we all like to do the most is to to serve somebody, or give something to somebody, or do something for somebody. And so that's an important part of our human nature. The human nature of us feels good when we're helping others. And yet there is some kind of a block that stops us from being able to realize that, recognize that, and to acknowledge that. So we want to start to think this week about a random acts of kindness. What can I do? How does that work? What would it be? It would be being kinder to the sales clerk, or the waiter, or it would be tipping a little bit more, or it would be paying a compliment, or smiling, or adding having a nice attitude towards somebody. It takes effort, because sometimes we like to sit in our negative attitude. Sometimes we like to sit in our stuff and mull it over and mull it over and mull it over. But when we go and we start to have this random act of kindness, we get ourselves out of ourselves and we start paying attention to somebody else. When we pay attention to somebody else, it makes us feel good. And the more that we pay attention to somebody else, the more that we give, and we give and we give. There is a principle that says what you give is going to come back to you. So what you're giving is going to come back to you. It's going to always come back to you. If you're not giving anything, you don't get. People say to me, Joyce, how come you're always getting? How come people are always giving you things? Or how come your life runs so smooth? How come traffic opens up for you? How come these things happen? And the reason is that I'm first instigating it. I put it out there. I get the energy rolling. What goes around comes around. We've heard it. We've heard it. That's a big real estate phrase. What goes around comes around. But in other words, what you're putting out is going to come back to you. It's like one of those frisbees. You know, you throw it out, and it's going to come back. So I want to challenge you all to think about this. This past week, people have been talking to me about, you know, I didn't have as good a week. My week didn't seem to go as well as I think that my week could go. Probably what happens when we don't have a good week is that we are giving power to the news, we are giving power to some illness, we are giving power to somebody who is having a problem, we are giving power to our children, we are giving our power away. So we don't own our own power, we don't own our own energy, we don't own who we are, and we don't nurture ourselves in those moments. And what we do is we give our power away to somebody else. When we're giving that power away, what happens is that we feel powerless. And when we feel powerless, that's a really terrible feeling. We feel it in the solar plexus. We get up against that wall. We can't make decisions. We sometimes feel it in the solar plexus, and we feel it in the throat. And when we feel it in the solar plexus and throat, nothing comes out right in the throat. Have you ever noticed that? When you try to talk and it just won't come out. It just won't come out. So we have to recognize that, we have to acknowledge that, we have to speak and ask for what we want and own what we want and believe in ourselves. I think this is the one big thing that is so important, believing in yourself. Now, getting back to not living, you know, the week didn't go so well, they said, it didn't go so well, and I ran into lots of obstacles, or this happened, or whatever. What I think you have to do is you have to get away from that worry, as I said. Worry is like a disease. When you start to worry, it can just become, you can start to worry and worry and worry, and it's an energy that rolls. It rolls, and it accumulates more worry, and it accumulates more worry, and it accumulates more worry. Back 30-some years ago, a long time ago, when I was drinking, I didn't worry about the things that I worried about after I stopped drinking. I just go drink. I just go drink. I just get me a bottle of beer, and by gosh, everything was rosy and good. And I didn't care about what was going on in my world. But when I became sober some 33 years ago, and when I put the cap in the bottle and I said, you know what, I'm going to feel my feelings, because I was numbing out my feelings. I was numbing them out. I was told by a group of people to live one day at a time. Just live one day at a time. I'm always telling you, be here, right now. Be here, right now. Well, do you know really what it means to be here right now? Because when you know what it means to be here right now, it means in this moment. And in this moment, there is nothing that you need to worry about. Nothing. In this moment, there isn't something standing in front of you, Tom, or standing in front of you, Melissa, or standing in front of you, Barbara, that says you have to make a decision right now. So you live in the now. So what do you mean I don't have to think about that? You don't have to think about it. You're right here, right now. You have to bring your full presence into this room. Your full beingness into this room. You have to be fully present. But oftentimes what happens is our mind goes drifting off into that worry. On the way over here, I was in the presence. I was noticing those beautiful trees. What are they, the white ones? Gorgeous, gorgeous trees. I was noticing the Christmas, not Christmas. Christmas. Where I was noticing the chill in the air. And I was noticing the chill in the air, and I was feeling it, and I know it was somewhat windy, and I got up above, the sun was out, and it was beautiful and pretty, and all of those things. And so, but pretty soon, something happened. And I said, you know, I'm not feeling so good. I'm not feeling so good. I'm getting annoyed with traffic. And I said, wait a minute. What happened here? What happened? And what do you think happened? I started thinking about something else. I allowed my mind to drift. When I allowed my mind to drift, it went someplace negative. Went someplace negative, I started showing it in my driving. I started showing it in not appreciating. I started showing it by just, you know, kind of driving along and thinking, oh, there's a lot of traffic on the road. Whereas before that, I didn't even notice the traffic. So I got out of the moment. I got out of the moment. Now somebody will come to me and then for consultation they'll say, I don't know whether I'm going to go here, or I don't know whether I'm going to go here, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know how it's going to work. And I say to you, well, put out there, script for what you want, write out what you want as though it's already yours, and then please trust the process.